I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We are Untitled Nerd Network. This is a Walking Dead review, Season 10, Episode 21, Diverged.
Diverged.
And, yeah, so Carol and Daryl episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, they announced a little while back that they're doing they got all kinds of Walking Dead spinoffs in the works. And,
Supposedly.
yeah.
Allegedly.
That's where I'm getting at. Is they're planning a Carol and Daryl spinoff, and like last night actually, I was in a one of the comment threads on Facebook, and somebody, they were, it was Robert Kirkman had said that his surprise ending of the Walking Dead comic book,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody was expecting it to go forever and ever and ever, and we were all looking forward to issue 200, and then suddenly the series ended at like 193, and they didn't announce it or anything. People read the book the day it came out and was like, holy shit, it's over. Like, where did this come from? And people are there's a growing group of people online right now who are saying that the Daryl and Carol spinoff may just be a like a
A lie.
kind of throwing
To
people
throw
off
people off. Yeah.
because they're planning on killing one or both of them before the series is over. And
Oh, God.
I was like, oh my god, wouldn't that be something?
That'd be awful. What a way to go down.
Yeah. So I don't know. This episode they end up. It's kind of a carryover from the last episode they were in. They kind of end up on not really speaking terms. They go their separate ways. There was a lot of poetic, symbolism and stuff. They actually do take two different paths and all that. And so this episode is their separate paths. Basically, a day in the life of Carol and a day in the life of Daryl without the other one around,
Mm-hmm.
and everything goes to crap for both of them. And the kind of the moral of the story is it would have been a lot better if they would have stayed together. Um, that's pretty much the extent of it, you know.
Carol goes to Alexandria. And it is tore to hell.
Uh, no food.
Yeah. There's not.
Well, very little.
There's very little food. Uh, the way Carol deals with trauma is she finds her place and she focuses on her job
Yep.
and her task. It's probably been her trauma response since before the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Um, and she's wanting Jerry to give her a task, and he's like, well, there's not really much, to say or do. They're basically just having to literally pick up the pieces of Alexandria and start over. His stomach grumbles, and he's like, I would love some food. She's like, great. And
That's what she does.
yeah, she's like, perfect. All right. Well, there's not much left. We had to throw out a bunch of grain because the rats got in the silo, and rats destroyed a lot of the crops, so did the walkers. Oh, and the solar panels are, busted too, so there's no electricity, and, there's a whole calamity of things. And then she was like, so she tells him the story of Stone Soup. And
Which is interesting because we were talking about it. This is the first time I've heard the story of Stone Soup since I was in like first grade.
right. Working in the field, I do. It's a popular story.
See, I didn't know that like people still told it. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know that it had still carried on.
It's that big of a classic.
Yeah.
It is. It's a classic of what you can do together as a team. If you really pull together as a team, then you'll work it out for the better.
That's all the years that I've known about that story,
Uh-huh.
I didn't take it as that kind of story.
What
I
did you
took
take
it as a story of. Now, I might have been remembering the story maybe a little wrong, but
Uh-huh.
I always thought of that story as a freeloader comes to town wanting free food and tricks the town into feeding him.
But he feeds the whole town.
Well, he does.
If he
With
just
food they
fed-
already had.
Yeah, but they weren't working together, and it took a stranger to be like, "Hey, can I have just a little? Just a little."
Yeah.
But it also goes to show you another way to look at that story is every little bit helps.
Yeah.
And if you can't donate a lot to your homeless or to this cause or that cause, they're not lying when they say every little bit helps. That in that story, they made a whole soup big enough to feed the town over
Yeah.
just a little bit. So just think, if you donated $5 and you donated $5 and it all adds up, you know.
Yeah, as
Something.
evidenced by my GoFundMe that I had.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I think that may have been more a reflection of the environment that I grew up in. Not necessarily at home, but just
In general.
in general, living in one of those, like, small Northwest Georgia towns that, you're supposed to, I guess, you're supposed to help the needy, but you're secretly supposed to despise them. That kind of crap.
Yeah.
And so, I think that may have been the reason I thought about the story like that was due to my surroundings when in first grade and on up, and it kind of became that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. But, like, Daryl has a crappy day with his motorcycle. It shuts down, and the tool that he needed to fix it, Carol had. He gets lucky, finds a dead soldier somewhere with a bunch of supplies and tools on him. Handles that.
Yeah.
But Carol's was really the fun one. And I don't know if it would have been as fun if you wasn't here for it. What?
Go ahead.
Like the entire
Because you just
the
chomping at the bit.
the entire Carol story is Carol versus a rat, and it was super. It was funny already, but just the fact that you have that unholy fear of rodents is just, I don't know, for some.
I would have been a ship. I'm gonna be chasing that thing. There's no way. I'd let that dog handle it. That's what it's for.
It was funny too because the dog didn't seem like he really cared once the rat came out. It's like once he
That's
saw
why
what it was, he was.
Yeah, once he saw what it was, maybe, I don't know. Well, that and Carol scolded him for making such a mess and knocking over what little food she had. And,
Oh yeah,
that I'm sure. He's pretty well trained.
he is a very well trained dog. He
He
had to have been to survive, with Daryl and everything.
He's pretty well trained. But Carol sucks it up, and she gets the solar panel working again, and she gets all her soup done. The next morning, because the solar panel's absorbed enough sun, it's cooking, and so
I really
they
like.
found their own way without each other,
Yeah.
but it was hard. But they did figure it out they could do it, even though they missed the other.
Jerry, I think, was a shining star in this episode.
It was nice.
I like him.
I've always liked him. He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
Such a good guy. Oh God, he's probably gonna die.
Yeah.
We thought we lost him.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. What, like two episodes ago?
They've really been teasing him dying just over and over and over. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I hope they don't finally pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'll be very sad. He's such a nice guy.
Well, we have a
Yeah.
26 episode season 11 coming up this summer, and
Everybody
um,
has an episode they can die in, I guess.
the the fun part is this episode we've only got a week from now, and we're next episode is going to be Here's Negan, and I really, really, really cannot wait for Here's Negan.
Here's
It's just
Negan.
I
And then he
cannot
busts through the wall with a baseball
cannot
bat.
wait. Cannot.
Here's Negan.
Oh my god, this is going to be such a good episode. I hope it's not a letdown, but
Yeah.
I really do think this episode is going to be something nice. But anyway, this episode,
What do you give this episode?
I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay.
Just because this was a really good kind of character study on Daryl and Carol.
Mm-hmm. Even a little on Jerry.
You
know.
could really tell, I think, this episode more than any episode this season, this block, the COVID episodes is kind of how I'm going to refer to them.
Mm-hmm.
You could really tell that this episode was a COVID episode more than any others.
It was literally them three.
Yeah.
That's it.
In separate areas, and that
Mm-hmm.
nobody else. And it seemed weird to know that Alexandria is basically being rebuilt,
And not
but
see
you
everybody.
couldn't see anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I would have at least been okay with, have people spaced out in the background or something. That would have been a little. It just seemed off
It did.
that
but
there wasn't anybody there.
That's kind of what gives this character.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
he
you
did
can
say.
watch back and be like, hey, that's when the pandemic happened. That's why there's so
Yeah.
just them three,
Oh, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just,
yeah.
it's just one of those.
Odd.
And we've talked about it before, but every little detail that people could pick out of these episodes that, the people who haven't watched it season 8 but still want to talk about how bad The Walking Dead currently is, it's that kind of thing that, people
I
are like...
literally mentioned into a group chat that I was watching this, and they're like, that show's still alive?
Actually, no, it's been dead since season 1. But don't.
Anyway, I was like, yeah, and I was like, I highly recommend you start at season 9 and watch all the way through till now. It's been really good. The Whispers have been really good. And they were like, oh, I watched the first 3, but it wasn't really my thing. I was like, oh, well, that explains it.
First 3 seasons?
Yeah, first 3 seasons. And they were like, yeah, this wasn't really my thing.
God, the show didn't really...
Take off until season 3, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah.
Like, really getting deep in stories and shit.
Yeah. Season 2.
Because you gotta think, season 1 was 6 episodes?
Yeah.
Some shit.
Yeah. Season 2 was 100% on the farm.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd say it probably started kicking off with the mid-season finale of season 2, when they figured out Sophia was in the barn.
Yeah.
From that point on,
It was just like, boom.
it was like, it was on fire. And it stayed that way until, the Beth Hospital episodes is about when I started being kind of wavering, like,
you didn't like her character anyway, so.
I liked her character, but no, I didn't.
I was fixing to say,
she was
since
boring.
when,
She was
Lonnie,
boring.
you cannot stand her character.
Boring. She was
Please
extremely boring.
Stop.
Yeah. The only thing I really liked about Beth, the episode with her and Daryl, and then, like, in season 2, which I think was probably the back half of season... No, I don't remember when exactly in season 2. But she was really struggling, and she, like, attempted suicide, and Andrea helped her. Because Andrea's thought was, if she wants to do it, she's going to do it. But if she doesn't really, she's going to try it and realize that, hey, this is a bad idea. And it ended up working out in her favor, but
Right.
that didn't make anybody feel any better, you know? So, her thought was she's gonna eventually attempt it, and you can't just keep an eye on her 24/7. You know. So yeah, that was actually, and I think that was more of an Andrea thing than a Beth thing. Because hell, at that time, I didn't even know what Beth's name was. I just knew she was Maggie's little sister,
Right.
And then she kind of came into her own right about the time she died.
Of course, that's how that goes.
Which I think hers was probably one of the most worthless deaths in Walking Dead history. She didn't have to die. For some stupid reason, she put herself in a place where she did die. She walked up, stabbed that woman.
Yeah, she had to die. Daryl was getting close to her.
Good point. Why is Carol still around?
I mean, but they're different type of relationship.
Yeah.
He was getting close to her in like a romantic aspect. Yes, he was.
I think it was more of a little sister aspect.
No, it was on its way.
You think so?
It was on its way.
You think we're going to see Daryl's old girlfriend again that he lived with? You think she's done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be real surprised.
I think she'll pop up, but probably just in time to die, or she'll end up being like a bad guy or something, or
A zombie.
Maybe she ends up
He'll have to kill another fucking walker, somebody he loved.
Maybe.
Like...
Wow. Maybe she'll end up at the Commonwealth. Maybe a picture of Daryl will be. No, how the hell would she end up with a picture of Daryl? But anyway.
I don't know.
What'd you give this episode?
A 9 as well.
Okay.
It wasn't all that great, but it was still pretty good.
Nice
little storyline.
Next episode's Here's Negan. Can't wait. Like, really, cannot wait for this episode.
Hey, are you excited for Here's Negan?
I am.
Oh. Okay.
A little bit. Just a little bit. Just a tiny little bit.
Just a smidget.
We'll be back next Saturday. Well, I don't know exactly how this is going to schedule.
We'll be back next time.
Next time for The Walking Dead.
Same bat place. Not time.
I'm Lonnie.
I'm Amberlicious.
We're Untitled Network. We'll see y'all for the next Walking Dead review.